Well, good morning. This is Mike Rowe, and I'm delighted to have been invited to deliver this webinar because it gives me the chance to demonstrate how I can help you grow, or at the very least maintain, your independent research business. You see, you have to apply professional sales principles, and that's what I teach. Of course, there will always be the fortunate few who receive a never-ending stream of incoming RFPs. But I guess most of you, like me, are always concerned that existing clients may drop out, new work dry up, and prices be driven down. Let me illustrate and allay these concerns through a parable: The Lion and the Gazelle, a new business parable that comes in 3 verses, which I'll leave you to read for yourselves. First, let's look at it from the point of view of the gazelle. It's not much easier for the lion. When the lion wakes up, so what's the moral of our story? Yes, it's a jungle out there. Stand still and you die. So let's get moving. And don't panic. My sales training can help you stay alive. Why should you listen to me? Well, first, because I've done it. I've personally used these sales methods and they've worked. So I know you can do it too, because I absolutely know better than you. Indeed, I'm just like you. I identify fully with today's audience, having myself been an independent sales and research training consultant for over 12 years, after a long career in market research. Which means I can help you win new business. You need to proactively go out and win new business. What you offer is valuable to clients, is interesting and income generating for you. So yes, your expertise deserves promoting. Networking is fine, the Insight Show also, LinkedIn, the ICG. But what I'm talking about today is professional sales canvassing. This method is easily the most effective and is a practical option for independents. You see, you cannot avoid client churn. The leaky bucket represents your business. The seepage is not your fault and cannot be stopped. It comes from the economic environment, from personnel changes, company mergers, and so forth. Only self-generated new business will replace it and will keep you going. But already I can sense you recoiling and excuses being prepared. I don't believe it'll work, but it does. I don't think I can do it, but of course you can. It's unnecessary. Well, you're wrong. I remind you of that leaky bucket. Yes, you yourself can conduct the sales activities I'm about to describe. And if you don't, believe me, your competitors will. I know you only have one pair of hands, but so do I, and many of those attending my courses are the same. I built my own training business in this way, just as I built sales for a large agency, Research International. Put a regular portion of your time aside to pursue sales. Be professional, add sales to your skill set. It's only a means to an end. You won't stop being a researcher, and I can teach you how to do that. Today, I will show you what to do to become a researcher who can sell. I hope it encourages you to take things further and learn in detail how to do it and to practice these methods. The process starts with your acceptance of this maxim: nothing happens until the sale is made. And let me tell you about my own sales moment of epiphany. I once ran a research group which had a major FMCG client accounting for 40% of the business. One April, visiting their offices in the north of England, I learned that due to a factory fire, research and other expenditure was being frozen for the foreseeable future. So I spent my return rail trip rehearsing for my CEO my excuse as to how obviously I will be unable to achieve my annual target. This took me up to the door when I had my epiphany. Was I really incapable of replacing the missing budget in the 9 remaining months of that year? Why was I so helpless in this situation? After all I needed to win was 0.01% of the UK market research business. So I learnt the skills of selling. They work well, and now I pass these tips on to you. If I can do it, you can too. Which leads us to the question, okay, so how do I start? In today's free webinar, I have to tread a fine line. I must offer you a taster, but not a teaser, providing sufficient useful information for you to feel that this has been a worthwhile way to spend an hour. But not so much it eats into my meal ticket sales training business. Those of you already active in selling will pick up many new useful tips from this brief session. And beginners will hopefully be incentivized to get started. Both groups should still attend my full one-day seminar. At the end of this webinar, I'll make you an offer you cannot refuse. The seminar itself is built up in the following way. It starts with a general overview of marketing a service, and then goes on to focus on the 3 P's of business development. It's all based on my personal experience in the research business, so it contains a minimum of theory and a maximum of practical advice. The 3 P's, by the way, are going to be the core of today's lecture, today's webinar. So I'll come back to those, but you'll see it includes things like lead generation, differentiating your offer, converting features to benefits, the full prospection script, and consultative selling. It then goes on with case study, advice on other marketing devices, keeping clients happy, surviving recession, and a few notes on key negotiation skills. In today's webinar, as I said, I will explain more in detail on these vital 3 P's and their role in pushing you up the value chain, or in this case, the value pyramid as illustrated here. Out there are suspects, possible users of your services that you need to identify, P1, and qualify, that is, get full contact details. Then you need to make appointments, P2, for those seen to be prospects, in order to present your consultancy services face to face. Finally, you'll only convert them by conducting a professional meeting with them, P3. I aim to provide you with these base building blocks for you to climb up the pyramid. The rest is up to you. The quality you have promised must obviously be delivered to gain repeaters, to move them to committed, and possibly even apostles for your services. So let's now expand on these 3 P's. The first is planning. The second, prospection. The third, pitching. So, we begin with planning. What's planning all about? Deciding what are you selling and to who. We're talking about differentiation and lead generation. You can't sell without someone to sell to, and you can't sell until you have a distinctive and persuasive story. So what are you selling? It always comes as a huge shock to me when in this, our very first seminar exercise, so many course attendees, especially the qualies, generate such dull, generic statements, lacking distinctiveness, client benefits, or a compelling advantage. In fact, being identical to most descriptions that could be found in a random dip into the MRS agency listings. All I hear are generics, years of experience, highest standards, attention to detail, personal involvement. What I would rather is that you develop your own elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is defined by Wikipedia as a 30-second summary used to quickly and simply define a product, a service, or an organization and its value proposition. And I'd like to expand this, which you can recite instantly, word perfectly, and with conviction. The focus is on benefits, not features, deliverables rather than techniques. The structure of your elevator pitch is very important. You are selling a benefit. There has to be a benefit to the client, providing a solution to the client's problem, met by your offer of help. And that must be backed up by your differentiation. It often requires hours to get my seminar participants to pinpoint their own differentiation. It's there somewhere, in their own background, experience, expertise, methods, whatever, but it's often so close to them they can't see it. We're looking for those key qualifier words you see underneath there, somewhere where you can be the first, the best, the only, a unique offer, a brand, a model, or some expertise. We get there in the end. On the subject of this elevator pitch, then, it might be useful to present some examples of this from outside and inside the research business. You see here, the problem was not knowing the way, having to ask a policeman. The benefit, the underground takes you anywhere, and the unique differentiation is the quickest and cheapest way. I think that's an amazing pitch. But let's get back to a research example. Imagine you're offering a product such as a simulated test market methodology, and you learn of the merger of Unilever and P&G to form Unigamble, the world's largest FMCG company. Obviously, a very rich prospect for you. And then you read that its CEO in the trade press announcing that its future success will be closely linked with its ambition to launch 20 new products in the next 5 years. So here is your elevator pitch. Unigamble needs its new products to be successful, and my consultancy can help make that happen. Our unique new STM, called Microtest, will allow you to accurately forecast volume sales even before a new product is launched, which will be of great value to you. Okay, let's move on from the elevator pitch. Who are you selling to? You cannot start selling until you have a long list of identified, qualified suspects, which you generate from anywhere and everywhere. You must build your sales database. And remember, the good news is that not all prospects have to be new ones, representing the frightening cold call. Many may already be closer and warmer than you think. There is the extra door in existing large companies because budgets are often scattered. You can ask for a referral from existing clients, or use a ricochet method via intermediaries such as ad agency planners. I have personal examples of each of these. The extra door. Having won a worldwide Tetra Pak research business, I was shocked to discover another of my clients completing a Tetra Pak customer satisfaction questionnaire. On asking my market research contact within Tetra Pak why I had not been asked to quote for this study, I discovered it was handled by a different department for illogical but historical reasons. So it was my fault for not having suspected that such a large company must conduct customer satisfaction and for having inquired further. An example of the referral. Simply ask a friendly existing client for a referral. A technique, after all, that's good enough for double glazing salesmen as they work their way down the street, certainly good enough for us to copy. Here, an example comes from my training contract for India's largest research agency. After happily working for them for a number of years, I suddenly thought to inquire whether they might have other international subsidiaries I might approach. Very simple. I immediately received contact names and now extend my seminars to their offices in Dubai and in Sri Lanka. And thirdly, the ricochet. Ad agency planners are ideal intermediaries, leading you back and forth from client to planner to next client to next planner, etc. All warm contacts. For instance, I had a ricochet that started with a pitch to a branded clothing manufacturer in Nottingham, took me to their ad agency in London, who also happened to work for Scottish and Newcastle breweries in Edinburgh, who themselves had another London agency who also Harvey's of Bristol as their client, eventually getting me a job 9 months later after a pitch to Summerfield supermarkets via a regional ad agency known to Harvey's. So armed with your list and your elevator pitch, now you are ready. To sell? No. To make an appointment? Yes. You provide a customized service, not a commodity sold by the kilo. So you need to match it to client needs. This is done face to face. You also sell an intangible, a promise, which means risk for the client, best reduced by meeting you face to face. How to make an appointment. How to get in front of the client. That's the definition of prospection. And this is, I would imagine, because it was for me, your major skills gap that must be filled. Ensuring you get face to face with the prospect. And I'm going to insist that you prospect by using the phone. Nothing equals it for efficiency or effectiveness. Please don't recoil. There is no alternative. I know the thought of doing this fills you with trepidation, even with fear. And the lazy option is near at hand. Why can't I just send an email? Because it won't work. It won't get you the appointment. So this fear must be addressed. The dragon must be slain before you can move on and act. So we must consider what are the causes of this fear and eliminate them. You don't know what to say, but I'll tell you. You fear rejection, but it hardly ever happens. Objections, yes, but those can be dealt with, as I'll show later. It doesn't fit with your self-image. You're a researcher. Well, that's just intellectual snobbery, must be dispensed with. This is only going to be a small part of your business life. You will still be a researcher, but you'll be a researcher who can sell. This is just a means to an end. And think of it this way. Your task is easy. You're not doing telesales, you're doing prospection. All I want is an appointment. Also, it should be in the client's job description, surely, to know what offers are on the market, and so to meet you. Any insight or research manager, every insight or research manager, should be aware of what's available on the market. So you're not a pest. You're offering useful information about another quality supplier. And I'll quote you from our own research magazine a few years ago, interviewing the insights manager at VW Audi Cars, who stated, "Cold calls from research suppliers are expected, and if it's something I'm looking for, I'll say, come in for a chat." So they expect to be sold to, but they expect to be sold to well. Now we can move on. The planning has been done. You have your long list of prospects. The fear has been removed. You are ready to pick up the phone and start working your way through your list until you've made your first contact. And now, when you get through, what do you say? Well, in front of you must be a script which will lead you through to the close and the appointment, allowing for any deviations caused by objections along the way. You will be accustomed to and relaxed with your script, because it will not be a straitjacket. The structure will be my suggestion to you, but the words will be all yours. The structure will have a psychological truth that makes the script workable. The words will be based around your own elevator pitch, and so you will be comfortable with it. You will be in control of the call. You will show client relevance, and you will gain interest, and so open the door for an appointment. Therefore, of course, scripts will vary per client. So here it is, the prospection script. Okay, so in my seminars, we develop and rehearse everyone's own script. That can't be done now, but let's examine it a bit further and look at an example. I want to focus in the limited time available on the two features you see there, gaining interest and closing. Gaining interest refers us back to all the preliminary work done at the planning stage in developing our elevator pitch. Closing reminds us that successful prospection is not just overcoming our nerves before picking up the phone. The real skill manifests itself in achieving a good ending well before we put the phone down. Your aim is a brief call, saving the presentation till the face-to-face meeting. So once the client has been gained through your client interest has been gained through your elevator pitch, immediately close by offering the meeting, making the appointment, thanks and goodbye. It has to be done like a surgical strike. So here is a script based on our earlier Unigamble example. See how it follows the structure shown. Ring, 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 ring. Good morning. This is Mike Rowe speaking. I'm Executive Director at the Research Consultancy. Have you heard of TRC? I see. Well, I'm calling in response to the recent statement from your CEO that successful new product development is vital to the future of Unigamble. At TRC, we've developed a unique new simulated test market technique called microtest, which can accurately predict the success of new products even before they're launched. This could obviously be of tremendous value to Unigamble. I'll be happy to present it to you. Would a morning or an afternoon be better for you? That's it. Short and sweet. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, uh-oh, but what about objections? Objections are seen as this brick wall against which you will crash and burn. Well, it won't happen. You will blow this down. Firstly, objections are not common. Secondly, the beauty about objections is that they are finite in number, and so your response can be prepared in advance. In fact, there are 9 objections. Yeah, that's it, 9. And I'll reveal all of them to you and how to deal with each of them in my training. Your response will both be a good answer and a return to your main objective, asking for the appointment. For now, let's just take 2 classic examples. The first represents a highly probable objection that nevertheless seems to surprise and freeze many. The prospect says, well, actually, we're working with Agency X on this type of work and are very happy with it. So do you say, oh, so sorry to bother you, goodbye? No way. The apparent bad news is actually very good news. They already do the kind of work you want to sell to them. They told you that. So they are confirmed as a prime prospect. You need to get the face-to-face meeting. So you roll with the objection and come back again with a reason for your call, an appointment. So here's how the script runs. I see, yes, they're a very good agency, but we have a rather different approach, which I'm sure would interest you, so that in the future you'd have the option of alternative suppliers when you meet this problem again. So would a morning or afternoon meeting be better for you? And the second example, well, this is actually the most difficult objection of all to deal with. The client says, the prospect says, okay, send me details in an email and I'll get back to you. Why is this so difficult? 1, because as I said earlier, you don't want to send that email. You want to present your services face-to-face, not via email. 2, it is often said in a friendly and interesting tone of voice, which traps you into agreeing. And what do you think will happen to your email? It'll be deleted as spam. And even if you call again, asking whether now you can make that appointment, the prospect will have a ready-made answer. The prospect will say, I don't think that'll be necessary. I read and filed your email. Thank you very much for it. I'll contact you if I need your services in the future. And you have not achieved the result you wanted. We will practice how to deal with this situation in my seminar, where indeed I will provide you with all the tools to achieve most appointments, objections or not. If you fail, you'll put the phone down and analyze your mistakes. And when you succeed, you'll want to keep on phoning as the adrenaline rush motivates you not to stop. I will also cover practical aspects of calling. When to do it, how much time to devote to it, keeping records, how to deal with voicemail and secretaries, and a brief word on some of these issues now. When to call? This fits in well with the other demands of your business life, because I recommend you call early and late in the day, leaving you free for existing projects in the middle. I even recommend Monday mornings and Friday evenings as prime call times. Record keeping, many calls will not reach your intended target, but that's not a problem because they will only take a few seconds. Sometimes voicemail, colleagues or secretaries will inform you of the reason you are unable to reach your target, so record this immediately, or with so many calls being made you will lose and confuse the data. And voicemail. Not a problem. Ignore it. Don't leave a message. You neither want to provide advance warning for your next call, nor do you want them to call you back, because then you'll be surprised and not in control. Voicemail simply means you'll be making rather more calls at a variety of times, but you'll get through in the end. So let's move on. The third P, the pitch. Of course, I can't tell you the content of your pitch, that's your specialism, but I can suggest a new approach to pitching. Once again, the words will be yours, but the structure will obey the rules of consultative selling. And once again, there'll be strong focus on meeting objections and closing. Consultative selling is about attitude of mind. Why not imagine the client has summoned you to this meeting? And in that case, it is most likely that an early question of yours would be, how can I help you? And then you would listen, and you'd be flexible and prepared to discuss anything relevant to the client's needs, where you could offer a solution. Most of us talk too much. I think a good pitch is one where we immediately drown the clients in the flood of PowerPoint charts, which are relevant to us, but not necessarily to the client. Features rather than benefits. So you'll see here, the pitch is only stage 3 in the 5 steps of consultative selling. It begins with the opening, moves into need determination before the pitch is made. And even then, it may not be the pitch you thought you were going to give. You'll be prepared to adapt it based on what you gleaned from your questioning. And after the pitch, are you happy if the client has no questions and you get out scot-free? No, you want objections to be raised now, so you can answer them on the spot. Because if not, they will occur to the client after you've left and it's too late. And he or she will assume the worst. So then we come to closing. What is your objective in this meeting? In prospection, it was appointment. In pitching, what is it? Surely not a check or a brief delivered on the spot. I think it is the hope of an RFP in the near future, or lacking that, the opportunity for further contact. I can show you how to set milestones in agreement with the client, which will allow you to follow up, because nothing is worse than weeks passing by without anything seeming to happen. And don't forget those warm ricochet opportunities. Always ask for a referral before you leave the pitch. So that covers the 3 Ps. Planning, prospection, pitching. The fact is that by employing them in a constant selling strategy, the chances of a positive outcome are very high for your business, and certainly much higher than any comparable marketing activity you could undertake. There's a better than 1 in 2 chance that within months of starting this process, you will achieve a new business opportunity. And here is a typical strike rate. If your homework produces 20 clearly researched and identified prospects, then your telephone skills can lead to plus or minus 14 appointments, which eventually, takes about 9 months like a baby, deliver 20 RFPs. Sorry, 10 RFPs. Your actual time expended over this period in research, calls and visits will be many hours, but it will be spread and should not hinder your regular business. Set an opportunity cost against it. Then calculate from your proposal strike rate, your own strike rate, and your average job size gross margin, just what your return on investment might be. You can make this calculation, and usually it is a fantastically high multiplier. And when you receive that RFP, celebrate. That's what it's all about, the opportunity to quote. You now know the basics about lead generation, developing your elevator pitch and prospection script, followed by the steps in consultative selling. Winning the job is up to you. I can help no further. But that's not quite true. I can perhaps help a bit further, because I can run my full seminar for you. I spent some time in this webinar emphasizing the importance of closing, so let me close with my pitch to you. While you've been listening to me, now someone has been eating your lunch, trying to seduce away one of your clients. This is a call to action. My elevator pitch to you is this. Your need is to develop sales skills. I deliver a tried and tested sales seminar. I'm a unique combination of researcher and sales trainer, so I understand your situation and will ensure you come away with a personalized sales action plan ready to put into immediate effect. So my seminar will give you the motivation, confidence, and expertise to win interesting and profitable new prospects. During it, we will together develop your own elevator pitch and prospection script. We will practice how to apply them with confidence via exercise, role plays, which I will moderate. If you wanted to attend my MRS training, it will cost you a minimum of £300 if you're a member. So my value offer to the ICG is half price. A seminar with a guaranteed return on investment. We've planned a date, July the 16th, in central London. My email address is below. Please contact me right now if you want to participate. We aim to keep it customized, so the maximum attendance is 10. It will be viable with a minimum of 7. So if I get emails from you quickly enough, I'll be able to confirm it and your place on it in the next few days.